Like when I think of Arslan Ash, I think of it sounds crazy, but I think of Ronnie Coleman. I think of Dorian Yates. I think of Michael Jordan. I think of R9 Ronaldo. Like he's of that caliber.
Hello and welcome to the Lion's Den.
What's up, YouTube? Ozzy back with another one, and this one we're gonna be talking about how would Arslan Ash fare in the Tekken 5 era. We're done the Tekken 4 era. Now it gets a bit interesting. This era was the most stacked era in any Tekken, in my opinion. It had killers. It really had killers. But we didn't know how good Pakistan was. I knew though, kinda. I stayed there for a while. So I knew how good they were. We're gonna talk about how good Arsenal and Ash is. Again, this is a fantasy, right? It's a fantasy matchup. We shouldn't compare eras, but we're just gonna have a fantasy matchup. How would have Arsenal and Ash compared in the Tekken 5 Dark Resurrection era? Probably the toughest era of any Tekken. This was pure Tekken. This was Tekken at its finest. And you really had some amazing players. You had Rain, you had Nee, you had Nin, you had Kudons. Remember, these guys were all in their prime. And we're going to talk about it, right? This game right here, it had everything. It had execution, it had spacing, it had harder movement, it had input leniency, it had stronger punishment windows, you know? And yes, we know Arsenal could execute at a high level, but I think he might lose to some confirms, some drop juggles. I don't know. Old school execution was different, right? But this is a hypothetical. He picked Nina, yeah? Arslan always will pick the girls. But in this game, characters like Steve, Fang, Brian, Devil Jin were just completely broken. So how would have Nina compared? Would he be able to play these characters? The bad characters, they stayed bad. They never really were in the finals. You had Devil Jin, Hiachi, some of the footage that we're seeing now. Devil Jin, he's laser throw, he's hell sweep. It was Tekken 5 was less forgiving, right? Your chance to make a comeback was very difficult. You will get knowledge checked on Tekken 5. Relentless pressure. The reads, I think, were on another level, in my opinion now, right? And the long sets had no mercy. We're talking about a generational great. We're talking about a Michael Jordan-esque kind of a guy. So we're not talking about average person here. This is a champion. Arslan Ash is a champion. We can all, speculate how he would have done this and that, but this era, in my opinion, was the toughest era. If I could describe it, it would be like in the 80s, you had Tommy Hearns, you had Roberto Duran, you had Sugar Ray Leonard, you had Marvin Hagler. You had the toughest era in the welterweight division. And then putting Floyd Mayweather in that division. I think Floyd would have lost. And this is like putting Arslan Ash in that division. You got a prime Kudons, prime Rain, prime all these players. I think Arslan Ash would have eventually become one of the best players of that era, but not immediately, man. I genuinely think he would have lost a lot, you know? I don't think he would have come in and cleared everyone out. That's just my opinion. I think tire inputs, brutal punishment for small mistakes, but I think he would have adjusted and he would have won majors. He definitely would have won Evos. But the question is, would he have dominated? Right now, looking at Arslan Ash, he's dominating Tekken 8, right? Yes, Ulsan has won a bit here and there. But in Tekken 5, I think he wouldn't have dominated as much. I think the margin for error was very small. And to win would be with the barest of margins. So I personally don't, think he would dominate like Tekken 7, Tekken 8 because the system doesn't allow the momentum to snowball the way it is. But over time, remember, we're talking about a champion here. Like, when I think of Arslan Ash, I think of, it sounds crazy, but I think of Ronnie Coleman. I think of Dorian Yates. I think of Michael Jordan. I think of R9 Ronaldo. Like, he's of that caliber. And eventually, I think over time, his discipline would have 100% stood out. But I think his competition would have been much more difficult. Again, this is a hypothetical. This is all fantasy, you know. But short term, I think he would have been strong but beatable. Long term, I think he would have been one of the best of the eras. His legacy would have been definitely feared, respected, and I think eventually, I think in Tekken 5, Arslan Ash wouldn't be unbeatable. Like in Tekken 7, he just felt unbeatable, man. Tekken 8, the mechanics, like players that you know wouldn't be great in other eras are beating him. That's simply because of the game. So, look, my final verdict, he would have been a great in Tekken 5, but I don't think it would have been as easy because you've got these players. They were in their prime as well. So, what do you guys think? It's an interesting hypothetical, right? We're just talking about fantasies. It's not good to compare. We should have never compared, but we're comparing in these videos. I like to compare sometimes. Sometimes I think R9 Ronaldo versus Pele, who was better, right? Now they have better equipment. They have better physio. They have better fitness. Everything's better now. Tekken, I don't know. Can you get better arcade sticks? What can you do better? It's the frequency of your mind, how quick it works. Yeah, so guys, let me know in the comments what you guys think. How would Arslan Ash done in the Tekken 5 DR era? For me, the toughest era, man. You had Ryan Hart. Ryan Hart was winning Evos. America was solid. America was solid. Everyone was stacked. Ryan Hart was in his prime. Tekken 5 DR. I remember Arslan's struggles against Kazuya players. So it would have been the most interesting era, in my opinion. The greats have stopped playing, you know. Life happens, but it would have been interesting. What would have been more interesting is how Pakistan would have done in this era. Oh, it would have been the era of all eras, man, to talk about. But guys, anyway, if you liked the video, give it a like, give it a thumbs up, and hit the subscribe button, guys. It really helps out the channel.